So the key thing here says find a linear function. We could have also said find a linear equation, right? Either way, basically it wants us to find y equals mx plus b. That represents a situation where there's two pieces that you need to find. You, one, need to find the slope, and two, need to find b. All right? So the two things you need to find. Now, how are we going to find it? Well, we're going to utilize the information given. We know that at 4 months, he owed $300, and that at 8 months, he owed $120. Those give us our coordinate points. Remember, our coordinate points are of the form x comma y, right? Where I said like 99% of the time, oh no. For those who are watching the recording, okay, there we go. I was having technical difficulties. Okay. Where I said 99% of the time that if one of your variables is a measure of time, that's your x. Measure of time is minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. Do we have a measure of time in this problem?
Yes.
Yeah, what is it? Months, right? So it's going to be months will be the x coordinate. And then what's the y coordinate?
The money he owed.
Yeah, the money owed, exactly. So that's how we're going to set up our two ordered pairs. So our first point was that at 4 months, he owes $300. Our second point is that at 8 months, he owes $120. So we have our 2 points. Any questions up to here so far? Okay, so let's now find the slope and y-intercept. First, we look for the slope. So recall the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If it's helpful for you, feel free to label these points. I'm going to call this my x1, y1, and my x2, y2. So it's just a matter of substitution. So this is going to be 120 minus 300 over x2 minus x1. That's 8 minus 4. This simplifies to negative 180 over 4, which is negative 45. Okay. It's not asking for it, but I think it'll still be good to interpret the slope. Okay, it's good practice, just in case.
Putting the answer into a formula? Like the y equals mx plus b?
Well, that would be the next step. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and finish it, and then I'll throw additional questions at you, okay? So let's go ahead and finish it. So we now have y equals mx plus b. We found m. M is negative 45, so that's negative 45x plus b. What do I need to solve for now? B, yeah, we need to solve for b next. And recall, in order to do so, you're going to plug in a value for x and y. Your value of an x and y will come from one of these points. It does not matter which. I'm going to pick the first point because they're smaller numbers. So, well, actually, is it smaller? No, I mean, the 300 is more, but the 4 is smaller. So, again, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. So I'm just going to pick the first point because I feel like it. So I'm going to plug in 4 for x, and I'm going to plug in 300 for y. 4 for x, because 4 is in the x coordinate, 300 for y, because 300 is in the y coordinate. So I have 300 equals negative 45 times 4 plus b. So this is 300 equals negative 45 times 4. That's negative 180 plus b. Let's add 180. The guy get be alone, so let's add 180 to both sides. So that'll be 480 equals B. So overall, our equation to model how much money Jared owes after X amount of months is y equals negative 45x plus 480.
Wow. I forgot this whole chapter.
Any questions here? Okay, I do want to throw some more at you though, with regards to this problem. So bonus, or part B, whatever you want to call it, interpret the slope. How would you interpret the slope? So first of all, what is a slope?
Negative 45.
Negative 45. Good.
Mhm.
So what is that?
I think that's like the amount of money that it's going down by.
Yeah. Yeah, right? So Jared owes money, and each month the amount he owes goes down, because it's negative, by $45. So I'm going to phrase it differently. The amount of money Jared owes goes down, again, I'm saying goes down because it's negative, goes down $45 per month, or each month, however you want to say that. Which makes sense because he's paying off his debt, right? So how much he owes should be going down, and it's going down to $45 a month. Any questions on that interpretation? All right. So again, the interpretation needs to be in the context of the problem. So let me ask you another interpretation question. Interpret the y-intercept. Interpret the y-intercept. So first of all, what is the y-intercept?
480.
480. Good. So what is the 480?
That's how much money he started off at.
Exactly, right? So remember, the y-intercept is always the initial value, or the starting value, or the starting amount. We're talking about the money he owes, right? So basically, initially, the amount of money he borrowed, or that he owes, is $480. So initially, Jared owes $480. That's how much he borrowed. So that's how you interpret the y-intercept. And then each month, he's paying off $45 each month.
You don't have to do like rise over run, right?
You don't have to.
Okay.
I mean, if you're able to interpret it just like this, then you can just do it straightforward, yeah. Let me throw another question at you. How much does Jared owe at 10 months? How much does Jared owe at 10 months? How would we figure that out?
You could plug it in where X is at.
Yeah, use our equation, right? Remember, the whole point of finding this equation is that you could then answer any additional questions about it, like moving forward, right? So I want to know how much will he owe after 10 months. We know that X represents months, so plug in the 10 for X. So this will be y equals negative 45 times 10 plus 480. I'm just going to do that all in one go in my calculator. Negative 45 times 10 plus 480. That'll be $30. So after 10 months, he'll almost be done. After 10 months, he'll still owe $30. Again, go back to your notes, go back to the lesson, go back to your homework for further practice problems, finding the equation of the line.
Have the notes for, I think it was 10.1 and 10.2, are those up now?
I've been trying to upload them, and I'm going to try to re-upload it again today.
Okay.
I don't know why it's not re-uploading, so
Okay.
let me know. Give me like end of day today. If it's still not up, then feel free to email me, let me know. Because on my end, it looks fine, so I don't know what's going on. Any other questions here on number 2? Okay, number 3. Jesse needs to sell his records. They are stored in a unit that costs $120 in rent each month, and it costs him $6.50 to ship each one that sells. When he sells the records, he charges $14 for each of them. Write the cost function for selling records and the revenue function for selling records. Use X to stand for the number of records. Use your functions to find out how many records he needs to sell to break even in a single month. So you could consider this a multi-part question. Part A, find the cost function. Part B, find the revenue function. Part C, find when it breaks even. All right, so I'm going to pause the video. Let's see how y'all did. So remember, we could break this down in essentially parts. First, finding the cost function. So the cost will equal. All right, so we know no matter what, Jesse needs to pay rent for the storage unit, right? And that's a flat rate. How much is that? 120. In addition to that, Jesse needs to pay to ship the records out. And how much does he have to pay per record? $6.50, right? $6.50 per record.
So that wouldn't be the revenue?
No. And again, remember, you could also have C equals 6.50x plus 120. So those two terms could be swapped if you want. So now the revenue is how much money Jesse is making for every record he sells. How much does he sell each record for? $14 each. So $14 per record he sells. So we got 2 of the 3 pieces done. We found the cost function, the revenue function. What do we have left to do is determine how many records he needs to sell to break even, right? And recall, to break even, what do we do with cost and revenue?
Equal each other.
They need to equal each other, right? In order to break even, your cost needs to equal your revenue. That's the only way to break even. The money going out needs to equal the money coming in. And then you substitute in each. The cost, we said, was 120 plus 650x equals the revenue, we said, was 14x. Any questions up to here? Okay. So, oh no, why does this keep happening? This cord might just be like done for maybe. Oh. Okay. Okay, so. All right, so we got to solve for x because we need to determine how many records need to be sold to break even. So solving for x, I'm going to subtract the 650x from both sides. So that way those x's cancel. I'm left with 120 equals, let's see, 14 minus 650. That's 7.5x. We can divide both sides by that 750. So 120 divided by 750. That'll give us 16. So 16 equals X. So what does that mean? That's 16 what?
16 records to break even.
16 records. He needs to sell 16 records to break even. If he sells any less, he's losing money. If he sells more, he's making a profit. Any questions there? All right, next example, number 4. Milton has a job filing TPS reports in the basement of Inutech. He can file 15 reports in 3 hours. Part A, use a proportion model to create a function that gives the number of reports filed n after t hours. B, find the constant of proportionality and explain what it means in the context of the situation. C, assuming he can work consistently with no break, how many records can he file in 8 hours? So let's actually swap, let's swap part A and B. Swap part A and B, the order in which you solve it, because really you got to do part B first to be able to do part A. Let's swap A and B. And we'll give you 5 minutes. All right, so remember we're swapping the part A and B. So first we're going to find the constant of proportionality. Since we're told we're doing proportionality, we know that's going to be y over x, right? Now what is our y and what is our x? What goes in for y, what goes in for x?
Would y be 15?
Yep. Y is the 15 files, and X is what?
3 hours?
The 3 hours, exactly. And remember, one of the ways we know that is because if you're given a measure of time, 99% of the time, that's going to be your X. We're given 3 hours. Hours is a measure of time, so that's our X value. So this will equal 5. What does it mean in the context of the situation?
5 reports an hour.
Yeah, Milton can file 5 reports per hour. That's it. Any questions there? Okay, next, we're jumping back to part A. Use a proportion model to create a function that gives the number of reports filed. So remember, y equals mx plus b. So it's going to be y equals m is 5x. And what's b?
0.
0, because it's a proportion. So we just have y equals 5x. But we do need to take this just one step further because it doesn't want us to use y and x. It wants us to use n for the number of reports filed after t hours. And remember, we just said that time is x, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of helps assist us how to substitute it in. So the number of files equals 5 times the number of hours, t.
I got that right there wrong.
So then lastly, assuming he can work consistently with no break, how many reports can he file in 8 hours? So what do we do with that 8? Do we plug it in for n or for t?
T.
The t, right? Because 8 hours. So the number of reports he files is equal to 5 times 8, which is 40. So in 8 hours, he's able to file 40 reports. 40 reports filed. Sorry, I know I kind of wrote that weird. And that's it. Any questions there? And again, that's like what we did today. Okay, number 5. solve the inequalities. All right, again, like what we did today, I want you guys to solve each of these inequalities, and I want you to put them on number lines. I know it doesn't say to, but just go ahead and put them on number lines as well. I'm gonna give you a little bit longer here. I'll give you 6.5 minutes. I know it's weird. Here we go. Let's see how y'all did. All right, so 4x is less than or equal to negative 28. So, solving for x, when you get x alone, I'm going to divide both sides by 4. I am left with x is less than or equal to negative 7. The inequality sign does not change because we're not dividing by a negative number. Right? Only if it's a negative number does the inequality sign flip. This is dividing by 4, so it stays the same. It still stays less than or equal to. Okay? Let's practice putting this on a number line.
But you have a negative 28. That's why I changed.
That doesn't matter. This could be anything. That doesn't matter. What matters is what you are doing to both sides of the inequality. And what you are doing is dividing both sides by a positive 4. That's what matters. So nothing changes.
X has to be a negative in order for me to change.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So, do we have an open circle or closed circle? Closed, because it's less than or equal to. It has that, oops, and actually, I did my number line wrong. So they're negatives. I did positives. So let's see, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9. Okay, so it's a closed point at negative 7 because it's less than or equal to. It has that equal to. And then which way does the arrow go? Left. Good. And that's it. Any other questions on this one?
Why did I wrote it as an open circle? Or closed?
So let's recap that. Let's recap that at the top. If you have less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, see how those have the equal to's?
Yes.
You do a closed circle. If you have just a less than or just a greater than, that's when you do an open circle.
What if we have an equal? There's not an equal.
No. If you have an equal sign, then that's these problems that we did at the start.
Oh yeah. That's true.
Any other questions before we do part B? All right, let's try part B. Negative 3x minus 9 is greater than 9. Okay, so we need x alone. I'm going to first add 9 to both sides of the inequality. That way those 9s cancel. I am left with negative 3x is greater than 9 plus 9 is 18. To get x alone, we divide both sides by negative 3. So x is what?
Negative 6.
Yeah, less than negative 6. We have an inequality sign change because we're dividing both sides by a negative number. Okay, so negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8. Okay, so at negative 6, is it an open circle or closed circle?
Open.
Open, good, because it's just less than. It doesn't have the equal to. It's just less than, so it's open circle. And then do I draw my arrow to the left or to the right?
Right.
Which way?
Left.
Left, because look which way this is pointing. See how this is pointing left? Less than, left. Any questions there? No? Okay, part C. 2y minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 4y plus 7. All right, let's get our y's to the left-hand side. So I'm going to add 4y to both sides of the inequality. That way the 4y is canceled. I get 6y minus 5 is greater than or equal to 7. Next, we add 5 to both sides. So we get 6y is greater than or equal to 12. 7 plus 5 is 12. Lastly, you get y alone. Divide both sides by 6. So I have y. Does the inequality sign change or does it stay the same?
Same.
Stays the same because they're dividing both sides by 6. Not a negative, it's just 6. So it stays greater than or equal to. And then 12 divided by 6 is 2. So at my 2, do I do an open circle or closed circle? Closed, because it has that equal to, greater than or equal to. And then do I draw my arrow to the left or to the right?
Right.
To the right. And that's it.
So, I have a question. Not about this, but, well, yeah, but not about those questions. So let's say we do get an equal, and the x's cancel out, and it's just two numbers. For that, we just put not, like, what do we write?
Do you see an example like that?
Yeah, when we're doing the 6.
All right, guys. So then that's it for that one. And then remember 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 is not on the exam. Because those are sections 10.7 and 10.8, which will not be on the exam. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so again, remember guys, you're just studying 10.1 through 10.5. That's it. Oh, no, sorry, 6. 10.1 through 10.6. So everything up to the inequalities that we just practiced.
So is it gonna be like a shorter test?
Yeah, so it's going to be 5 questions.
Okay. Thanks.
5 questions, multi-part.
Short day.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording.